Hey everyone. Thank you for your interest in participating in this initiative to care for our Earth and to be good stewards of our land. This presentation is just meant to give you some context about what composting is and how we're going to be operating our new bucket drop off system for sisters living in off campus houses. So, just a little history about this program. In 2024, we started doing the research planning, material procurement, finding the site uh, for the composting to take place. And then in spring of 2025, we started collecting compostable waste from the Morrison kitchen. And throughout 2025, that was our whole pilot year to ensure that everything was going smoothly, the program was going effectively, and just making sure compost was doing what compost is supposed to be doing um, before we expanded any further. So this year, we just wanted to expand the compost program to sisters in the Leavenworth area living outside of the mother house. Expanding slowly like this with the limited demographic will just allow us to work through any problems before making compost available for an even wider demographic. So, what is compost? Compost is a soil amendment, um, primarily that's created when organic material decomposes under the right conditions. And the right conditions is really important there. It's made by layering organic material, keeping it moist, and allowing it to sit for a length of time. Usually, this is 3 years. And that's why a lot of times people will have three different piles, one for each year. And then just turning it frequently enough to maintain proper heat and aeration. And if you do that uh, correctly, then you end up with a really, really nice, rich black soil that is full of nutrients for all of your gardening needs. So, why are we composting? There's lots of reasons to compost besides just making the compost itself. Compost does regenerate and maintain a healthy soil for sure. It also diverts waste from landfills, reducing methane emissions, and methane is a really, really powerful greenhouse gas. So, as much as we can divert from landfills and put back into the earth, the better we are. Compost also sequesters carbon, keeping it out of the atmosphere. Again, another way to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And also, it just increases our community resiliency. Being able to make our own compost um, really just improves our ability to have a secure food production system and continue growing that food year after year. So, compost needs two things to become compost. And we usually refer to these things as brown material and green material. Brown material is anything that is, I like to think of it as like kind of already dead. These are things like dry leaves, shredded paper, shredded cardboard. The grounds crew here makes plenty of brown material already. So what we need your help creating is the green material. The green material is everything that, um, again, I kind of like to refer to as more alive than the brown material. This is stuff like vegetables and fruit scraps, eggshells, any starches, including like bread, rice, pasta, any coffee grounds, tea grounds, coffee filters, or house plant clippings. So, generally speaking, if it's food that you're using for meal prep or anything like that, that's generally a really safe bet to put in the compost. This does come with one exception for right now, which is any meat, any dairy, and any fat. So, like I said, any meat, any bones, any yogurt or milk, or any fats, including things like butters and oils. If it came from an animal, again, with the exception of like eggshells, generally that is not anything we want to put in the compost. And that's just because with our current compost system, um, any of these materials would attract any animals, critters, stuff we don't kind of want wandering around too darn much on the campus. And additionally, they just won't decompose correctly and they won't turn into the rich compost we need. So it's best to just not put those in the compost and for now continue putting those in the trash. So if there's anything you're wondering about composting that wasn't kind of within those bounds. Um, if you're like, maybe this goes in, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. It's you know, it's alive. It says it's compostable, but I'm not quite sure. This is a pretty good guide that I just want to get out there. Um, there's two types of composting. There's a lot more types, but for our purposes, there's two types that you'll see on labels mostly. One is industrial composting. This is also known as commercial composting, and another is home composting, which is also known as backyard composting. The industrial composting is super large scale. It's normally ran by municipalities or companies. And the home composting, that's going to be your smaller scale stuff, what you normally see in backyards. And this is normally operated by individuals or households. So what we're doing on the SCL grounds right now, this is technically classified as a home composting or a backyard composting system. And this is mostly because it takes a lot of management and just a lot of biomass to even get close to the industrial composting standards. So right now, if there's anything labeled as compostable, make sure that it is home compostable and not labeled as industrial compostable or commercially compostable. Again, just because those things are not going to break down in the system we have now, the internal heat in the piles just don't get hot enough for that. So let's say you were concerned about something. Maybe it's compostable, maybe it's not. You looked it up. You looked at the packaging, and you're still just not quite sure. If you're still not quite sure, it is generally best practice to not try it out. Of course, I would encourage everybody to compost as much as they possibly can, but one thing that is not compostable in the pile will lead to a greater mess down the line. So it's best just to not try it. And of course, I am always available by phone or email. If you have a question on whether you can or cannot compost something, feel free to reach out and I can offer my best guidance on that. Okay, now we get to talk about the fun stuff. How is the bucket drop-off system going to work? 4 really, really easy steps. First is to sign up using the link that was provided and went out with this presentation. Fill in your info there and we'll get you all set up. The second, wait and receive your bucket and fill it up with all that green material that I was talking about. The third, empty your bucket into the bin located in front of the grounds buildings. And fourth, if you want, if needed, feel free to grab a new bucket and some new compostable liners. So I'm going to break all that down real quick. Step 1, just sign up, click the registration in the registration link that was sent out with this presentation, fill out your info, and we will get you the bucket and get you all set up. Step 2, fill that bucket up. We're going to be ordering these 2-gallon orange buckets with these screw-on top lids. So they should be pretty easy to open, pretty easy to close, and they'll trap in any possible smells that might be coming in from there until you have the chance to drop that bucket off. And then you'll notice on the right here, there's these green compostable liners or compostable bags. You can stick that into your bucket like any normal trash can. And then they are compostable bags, so you can fill up your bucket with all that compostable green material that I was talking about, and then just bring all that up and drop the whole thing in the bin. Because these bags are compostable and we have been testing them out over the last year, we know that they'll decompose in our current system pretty well. So step 3, after you have filled your bucket up, filled that liner up, tied it off, brought it up to campus, you're going to come to in front of the grounds buildings. You'll see in the picture on the left there's the priest's house in the background, and then all the grounds crew buildings right there. This is in that parking lot right off of Ross Hall. So feel free to park in the handicap parking spots. Just don't park there for too long. And then after you park, get out, walk around the corner on the right there, and there will be a large bin for you to place your compostable material. So feel free to just pop that lid up, throw your green compostable liner in there. Do not throw the bucket in there. And then you should be good to go. I'll also note that the compostable liners, because they are compostable, once you start putting compostable material in there, especially any liquids, those bags will, there's a chance that they'll start beginning to decompose and to compost in that bucket themselves. So occasionally they'll get a rip in the bottom if you let it sit there for too long, or if you have many liquids in there, and they will rip. But if that does happen, feel free to dump the whole thing in there. It's all going to the same place anyways. One good way, if you're trying to mitigate the risk of your bag popping a hole in the bottom, is to just layer some of that brown material down in the bottom. Some newspaper, maybe a little bit of shredded cardboard or some paper, anything to really soak up that liquid. Usually gives your bag a better chance of making it. And then step 4, so you have filled your bucket up at home, you drove it up to the SCL campus, parked, popped that bag into that large bin. Now you have an empty bucket on your hands. Maybe it's dirty, maybe it's not. If it is dirty, you can hop into that door directly to the right of the bin. That door will be unlocked from 6:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. The grounds crew will keep it unlocked. And you can just walk in that building there. And on the left, along the wall, there will be new replacement buckets that you can feel free to leave your old bucket and then grab a new clean bucket along with some compostable liners that'll be sitting there. So feel free to grab a few of those at a time if you want to stock up. And like I said, that door will be unlocked from 6:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you want to swap your old bucket out for a new cleaner bucket, just make sure to arrive during those times. The other option is that if, let's say you had a long day, you roll up, you had your compost, you roll up at like 6 p.m. or something like that. The door to that building will be closed, but the bin is still outside. So you can still throw your compostable material, your compostable liner into the compost bin, and that's all well and good. It'll all go to the same place. But if you want, you can rinse your bucket out right there on site. So right outside of that door on that building, you'll see there's these 2 water spigots here. Feel free to use those to just rinse your bucket out if you want. And you can pour the water directly into that drain on the ground there. And then just grab a new bucket whenever you want. Again, if you want to swap your bucket out, or if you don't and want to make it last a few trips, that's entirely up to you. We will have enough buckets for everybody to be switching out if they want to do so. And it's that easy. So after you drop your compost off, we can take it from there. We'll take it up to the pile. Grounds crew has been doing a really, really amazing job at managing that pile so far. And we're really excited to be expanding this operation. We're actually really excited, and we need more green material to make a better compost product. So thank you all so much. Again, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions at all. And I will hope to see your name on that sign-up form and order some buckets, and we can get this whole thing rolling. Thank you all so much.